Murals are on the rise across the North Country. They make, shall we say, rusty parts of downtowns look a lot nicer, and they make people feel better about where they live. In Glens Falls, people are calling it a mural renaissance. A mural renaissance? We visit a thing called Muralthon at an old clothing factory in Glens Falls, a new annual event that's building art making and community. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the St. Lawrence County Community Development Program, now accepting applications for the Head Start program to prepare children ages 3 to 5 for school. Online at slccdp.org/head-start.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, August 6th. First up, a new Siena College poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris with a 14-point lead over former President Donald Trump in New York State. As WNYC's John Campbell reports, that's better news for Democrats looking to flip House seats in November.
The poll of likely New York voters shows Harris's lead over Trump is bigger than President Biden's was before he dropped out of the race. The biggest shift was in New York City's suburbs, where Harris is running even with Trump. That's a big improvement over Biden, who was getting crushed. That shift matters because Democrats and Republicans are battling for a handful of congressional districts in those same suburbs. And the presidential race could have a trickle-down effect for down-ballot races. Siena pollster Steve Greenberg says Harris's entry into the race has had a noticeable impact in New York, though perhaps not a dramatic one. In Albany, I'm John Campbell for the New York Public News Network.
A huge crowd gathered in Washington County over the weekend to protest the state's decision to close Great Meadow Correctional Facility, one of 2 state prisons set to close in the near future. Emily Russell reports.
At a gas station in Fort Anne on Sunday, nearly 1,000 people packed into the parking lot. They held signs that read, "New York State destroys local communities," and others that read, "Save our families." Bria Ballard's husband works at Great Meadow Correctional Facility just up the road. She was at Sunday's rally and spoke with News Channel 10 about her family's ties to the prison and to the area.
No, we have family here. Our whole history is here. My father worked there for 31 years. My husband's father worked there for 37 years. This is roots here.
Great Meadow Correctional Facility has been in the area for more than a century. It's one of the oldest prisons in the state. It's also one of the biggest. It was built to incarcerate about 1,500 people. But the state's inmate population has been plummeting. 5 years ago, the prison was nearly full. But by the start of this year, it was just 32% full. And prisons are also struggling to stay fully staffed. There are more than 3,000 vacant prison jobs. The Department of Corrections says that the staff shortage and declining inmate populations led to the planned closure of Great Meadow and Sullivan Correctional, a prison in the Hudson Valley. Sunday's rally to save Great Meadow featured speeches from local and state leaders like Senator Dan Steck and Assemblyman Matt Simpson, both who represent the region. North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik also gave an impassioned speech, which she posted to YouTube.
Listen up, Kathy Hochul. Since you don't have the guts to show up here, do we have a message for you? Hold up those signs!
That message from Stefanik was that Hochul is turning her back on upstate New York. But the push to close prisons all around the state predates Hochul. Governor Andrew Cuomo began that push, famously saying that the state's prison program should not be a jobs program. But in many North Country communities, that's what they've become, often some of the biggest employers in the region, like Great Meadow in Washington County. Stefanik said as much at Sunday's rally.
Great Meadow is the backbone of the New York State correctional system. And over 10 years, we have seen Watertown close, Mariah Shock, Ogdensburg, jobs cut at Clinton Annex. And now
State Senator Dan Steck is circulating a petition to prevent the closure of Great Meadow. In that petition, he says the prison closure will lead to more than 500 good-paying prison jobs to leave the area. The state says it doesn't plan to lay anyone off, that people can either transfer to another prison or a state agency. There actually is another state prison in the same town as Great Meadow, Washington Correctional Facility. Great Meadow is expected to close its doors in the next 2 months. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
Right now, the second annual Mural-thon is on in Glens Falls. 6 artists are bringing murals to life at the Shirt Factory, a collection of artist studios and shops housed in an old clothing factory on the south side of Glens Falls. The idea behind Mural-thon is to fill the Shirt Factory parking lot with local art. Amy Feiereisel stopped by on the first day of painting and spoke with an organizer and an artist.
Mural Garden is a free public art space that began just last year on the industrial lot around the Shirt Factory. There are already 9 murals painted on shipping containers and on the sides of buildings here. There are underwater landscapes, flowers, abstract designs. Hannah Williams is a young local muralist who lives in Queensbury.
Today we are at the Mural Garden grounds as it's the start kickoff for Mural-thon for the next 3 weeks. There'll be 6 artists painting their 8x10 murals on shipping containers.
Williams painted a mural here last year and is on the board of Mural Garden. She's here to make sure things go smoothly for the artists today.
And this year we will have the 6 new murals with Mural-thon, and by the fall we will have 1 building mural that it will be on the Shirt Factory building facing Cooper Street.
All the Mural Garden artists are from New York, most of them from around Glens Falls and the Capital Region. On this hot and very sunny summer day, 3 artists were painting.
My name is Stephanie Voss. I live up in Thurman, New York, so I'm way out in the woods, which has a large part of my inspiration. So I'm in the forest, I'm constantly seeing nature, ferns, mushrooms, so those themes are really prevalent in my work. The piece I'm working on today is kind of just like an amalgamation of these things. Like I'm a mycophile, there's some fungus in here, and I'm a big fan of laughter. So I have this figure, she's in this ecstatic state of laughing.
Voss has her music blaring and is painting in big black sunglasses and denim shorts. Her mural is sketched out in white on the shipping container. She's using a big paintbrush to put on black and dark blue paint.
Yeah, so I got here, I think it was like around 9:30, and my plan was to at least just block in the main colors. I don't know if anyone's painted on metal. It dries very quickly. It's about 80 degrees and sunny out here today. We're in a big parking lot. So rather than just putting an undercoat on the whole thing, I'm just tightening up each area at a time because the paint dries so fast. I don't have to wait those 2 to 4 hours to do the second coat. So it's actually working in my favor so far.
And is this the scale you usually work at?
So this is the largest scale painting I've ever done. I have, in my recent works, been going larger, which is funny because the last few years I've been working on some smaller pieces. I've been working on a divination deck, so it's very small, very particular. So this has given me a chance to sort of spread out, and it feels so refreshing. I mean, I'm up and down the ladder, and it feels good to like reach my arms out. Like I'm very much a hands-on person, so to be able to be using my full body to do this is kind of a practice in its own right. Get a little bit of the blue again. I have to leave all my paints here in the shade because everything's drying so quickly, so a lot of back and forth. I'm getting my steps in.
She says she's enjoying the heat. She'll probably run off for a quick swim before coming back later this afternoon to paint during the food truck corral. That's an event held here at the Shirt Factory every Thursday during the summer. Dozens of food and craft vendors set up.
So lots of people, lots of interest in what we're doing, I'm sure.
And that'll be fun too, because then you'll be getting to work kind of with an audience. That's different.
Yeah. So I did another project for the town of Glens Falls. There was an electrical box murals, and I did one right by Stewart's in town here. And I'm right on Route 9, like at a traffic light. So there was all sorts of activity, from people using the gas station to just the Route 9 traffic driving by. And it was very much like a performance, and I kind of thrive on that. Like it's, just the energy of people reciprocating with you and having interest and cheering you on is very special.
All the new murals will be finished by Thursday, August 8th. Until then, you can visit them outside the Shirt Factory and watch the artists at work. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio in Glens Falls.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Patricia Julian of Burlington and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.